Welcome everybody to the League Bound podcast. It is NFL playoff time, and we got a special edition playoff episode for each and every one of you today. Joining me is my esteemed guest, the most visited guest of the season, Avery Jules Greenberg. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing great, and as always, thanks for having me on the Baum cast. It is truly an honor.
Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. There was the end of the fantasy football season. Had to get away a little bit, do a little bit of a refresh. I've told a lot of friends about the story of my league, one of my leagues, and how that ended. I'll share that in a little bit, but just a little question, two-prong question. A, how are you feeling about your Giants being in the playoffs?
Oh, I should answer it now.
Yeah.
I'm looking to find someone to fly out to Minnesota with me on Sunday to watch the game, and then fly back out Sunday afternoon.
That would be incredible. And then B is just, I don't even remember if you made a fantasy championship. I think you did in one league.
Yeah, in Australia, but we
then
ended up just splitting 50-50 because we wanted our money ASAP.
You split 50-50. Was it like so? Obviously with the whole DeMar Hamlin injury in the Bills Bengals game that Monday night, a lot of fantasy matchups and fantasy championships were affected by it, myself included. Obviously yourself. Just curious, what was the different things that were going on in your league? What was the going into Monday type of situation?
Like before the game started, I was up by like 40. I had Gabe Davis. He had who do you have? He had Diggs, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow.
So definitely could have been a toss up there.
Yeah, I was up like 32 when it all went down, and that's where we paused, and then we discussed it, and we're like, we want money, and we want money now, so we'll just call it even. And I got my money in my 2 Venmo installments, and it was fantastic.
Nice. And honestly, for a lot of different leagues, I believe that was the correct move. However, I will share the story that will trump even the stat correction story that has been told on this amazing podcast. Basically, I went into the fantasy championship on Monday night having Stephon Diggs needing to get 5.5 points. Very doable. Stephon Diggs, one of the best receivers in football. Obviously, I think he's going to get it with it. The first half for sure, maybe even the first quarter. And he's doing it on the first drive of the game. The first drive of the game, he has 2 receptions for 26 yards. It's a full PPR, 4.6 points. Obviously, the game stops. And we didn't know at the time that they were going to cancel the game. And the next morning, the person I was playing against messaged our league saying, "Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Do you want to split it? Obviously, I'm ahead, but we don't know what's going to happen. Would you want to split it?" I just said, "Let's see what happens. Let's see what they're going to do and everything." Okay, fine. And then as the week goes on, the fantasy sites made their own decisions in calling the matchup as is, meaning that I had lost by less than a point. And the commissioner in my league has then basically said, okay, this is what the site did. This is what it is. I'm paying out everybody. First place gets this, second place gets this, third place, boom, I'm done. To which everyone in my league said, "What's going on?" They said that they would split it. They didn't even make the decision of whether they're canceling the game. And basically, I was trying to go back and forth with the other manager. The other manager didn't respond since the payouts were done, and my commissioner tried to even make it right because every other person in our league decided that this was complete BS, and he tried to make it right in whatever way. He wanted me not to mention it, so I will not. But basically, I got screwed, and this person disappeared from the ends of the earth. And 5.5 points. I got 4.6, and the stat correction has been trumped.
So, first, that sucks. Right, we'll start with that. That sucks. But you said let's wait and see, and you left yourself into the Yahoo hands, and Yahoo screwed you.
Well, it was actually Sleeper, which is a different site.
Oh,
but
forgive me, Sleeper screwed you. Even
yeah.
better.
Well, I did at the time. I legitimately thought they were going to resume the game, and even if they didn't resume the game, I thought we would have some sort of like compromise. Maybe we would, use the week 18 stats. We would do something. Some people were trying to use the like season averages and different things. But like our commissioner basically was just like, nope, I'm done. We're done. Yeah, season over. And yeah, so that ended up happening. But thank God DeMar Hamlin is out of the hospital. Obviously we're recording late night on January 11th, Wednesday, and he is out of the hospital in Buffalo, and all good things, good vibes going into that week. And so we have a super wild card weekend that I am freaking excited about. It's 6 matchups that all happen to be rematches from the season, whether it's divisional rematches or not, but they're all rematches from different games within the season. And just one other thing. There are 5 head coaching vacancies in the NFL. Denver, Carolina, Indianapolis, because if they'll be idiots if they keep Jeff Saturday. Carolina. Obviously, we have the Houston Texans, and then whatever happens with the Los Angeles Rams. Did I miss anybody over there?
No, and you're adding teams that aren't vacant yet, but we'll take it.
So we got 4, and probably 5, depending on what happens with Sean McVay. I really feel like I'm missing one right now, but that's besides the point. Doesn't really matter. But
yeah, come on. This is
one person that I do think will get a head coaching job, and I think whoever does get this person as a head coach, obviously there's Sean Payton and there's other hot names out there. But whoever gets Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco Giants, San Francisco Giants, San Francisco 49ers.
Yep, I'm just nodding my head. You keep going.
Exactly. San Francisco 49ers will have a very good head coach. And honestly, I'm very excited to see where he goes. And also one other thing, because I said over here, changes sometimes help. Russell Wilson was a top 5 quarterback the last 3 weeks of the season. Do we buy that because there was no Nathaniel Hackett? Or is it just like, oh, it just happened to be that, there were quarterbacks that weren't playing a lot in those games, and like he snuck in, he didn't have the 30, 40 point weeks that he was all QB1. But, do you see there being the same Russell Wilson hype train going into next year, like that this year had brought? Obviously not to the same extent, but something similar.
Well, if you're asking me if the hype train is going to be there, 1,000%. 1,000%. We're going to come out of training camp next year, and they're going to say that he's a beast. They're going to say everybody's healthy and everybody's running at full capacity. The question is that do we buy that for a season? And that's a question that I don't know. We would think it's Wilson.
I mean, yeah,
Wilson, right?
before this year, he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I mean,
I think he still is. He'll probably get there. 2 Super Bowl appearances.
and a W, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to preempt these matchups, we're gonna go in order of when these games are being played.
Boom.
And the real cool thing I've noticed is that these quarterbacks have been dictating the lines. Once, just for example, once news hit that Tua was out, the line in the Buffalo Bills game had gone from Bills minus 9.5 to a whopping Bills minus 13.5, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. And further, we had the Ravens Bengals game, and once today we had Lamar being a DNP. The line moved from Bengals minus 6.5 to Bengals minus 8.5. So obviously, QB being the most important position, driving those Vegas lines and the like. Okay, well, are we ready for Super Wildcard Weekend preview, my friend?
Let's get it done.
Heck yeah. All right. First up, we got a divisional matchup that we had just a couple of weeks ago. And then in the beginning of the more closer to the beginning of the year, we have the Seattle Seahawks going to the San Francisco 49ers. We have the 49ers favored by 9.5. Brock Purdy versus Geno Smith, because we all predicted that was going to be a playoff matchup. The 49ers coming in on a whopping 10-game winning streak. The longest winning streak of the season in the NFL. Closely trailed by the Cincinnati Bengals at 8, but we'll talk about them a little bit later. Something that stands out to me in this matchup is the Seahawks' lack of ability to guard the tight end position. And if you've been watching the 49ers of late, and the player that has absolutely stood out with Brock Purdy at QB, it's been George Kittle. People were driven to fantasy championships on the back of George Kittle. So that's going to be a matchup that honestly I think they're going to exploit tremendously. And Shanahan, being the offensive genius that he is, I think that's definitely something that is going to be in the game plan. And 42.5 for Kittle's receiving prop feels awfully low.
Yeah, it feels very low.
Especially
95 and a party for Kittle in the middle this week. The question is, do they cover?
Right, no, for sure. I mean, that is a very big question because obviously I'm not spelling George correctly. But
you should start with Kittle.
I know. That's a good point, but sometimes I'm not so smart.
Nah, smart.
But what really the question is, also we have Ken Walker not practicing today. It's believed that was just a rest day, but at the same time, when you have your star rookie running back, you want him in the ball game for your most important game of the year. Now looking, even though George Kittle has been a rock star of late, it makes more sense why the line is at 42.5, because if you look at his game log with Brock Purdy for all of these games for the last 5 of the season, 28 yards, 93, 120, 23, 29. What you do see, though, is the touchdown. So maybe I was jumping the gun a little bit going to his receiver prop, and I should have looked at his touchdown prop, which is at plus 150, which honestly I feel like is somewhat of a lot.
I hear what you're saying, and you make a good point. But gut feeling, man, I feel like Kittle's going to have one of those games.
His yardage games?
One of those Kelsey games.
His yardage Kelsey game?
I mean, both.
Like a real Kelsey game.
Yeah, 80 and 2 touchdowns this week for Kittle. You know, and
Oh,
McCaffrey's having a touchdown. I think it's going to be a slaughter.
yeah, I definitely hear it. I mean, when you hear the coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Mr. Wow,
Carol, Pete Carroll.
Carroll, my brain is somewhere else. I don't know. Pete Carroll himself saying that it's unfortunate that they're playing the Niners. You don't feel so good when being a Hawks fan. So honestly, lean my personal lean is that this goes Seattle covers the points, but it's gonna be a touchdown. I don't think it's gonna be a slaughter. But if I had to put a real pick in, it would probably be the over because I even though in the previous two matchups it was 27-7 and 21-13, which would have been under for both of these, which would have been under the 42.5 total over here. I still believe that it's going to be a little bit more of a high scoring game. No, nothing.
I don't know. I feel like both teams are slower. I like to run, ground and pound. I just think they're not going to be enough possessions. But I'm always wrong on the cover calls, you know. So
No, I hear where you're coming from.
I'm always wrong.
No,
So
no, no. I understand where you're coming from because listen, if you have, there's no better, there's no better point thing to point to for you in your favor than than their previous two matchups where both, like I said, both of them didn't cover get to the 42.5 point total. So, I mean, I probably am dumb saying that they would go to get that it's going to go over, but that's just how I feel. But yeah. Okay. Let's go to the battle of the blonde-haired quarterbacks. We got Young Guns, Justin Herbert, and the Los Angeles Chargers going into Jacksonville, Duval, and taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Big Cats down south. Okay, well, we have Jacksonville coming off of a AFC South title game in which they basically didn't get anything going offensively. I mean, Christian Kirk had a very nice game, but other than that, you really had the defense step up in order for them to win. They went on a scoop and score. They scored 3 points in the second half. And you also have a Chargers team that might be without Mike Williams, who got injured this past week, but when inexplicably playing in the third quarter and was carted off the field with a back injury. Chargers are favored by 2.5 on the road. Obviously, people are going to look to Justin Herbert and the offense looking a little bit more clicking on all cylinders. But I don't know. I'm not saying that I like the Jaguars in this game because I don't necessarily. I do think it's going to be a very close game. I just have a hard time believing that the Chargers are going to win. Like, I don't think the Chargers win convincing. That's for sure.
convincing.
But
I don't know if they win convincing either.
So where your head out on this?
I think, right, like I need you to envision this right now for a sec, and I could be completely off, but I'm hoping, and I think that we're gonna get like Justin Herbert balling out like Luka Doncic in the different, like, respectively, just for the playoffs. I'm thinking that we're gonna see some crazy stat from Herbert. I think the Chargers win this game. I don't know if they. I think that maybe 10 points, right? Maybe they'll win by 10 points.
Really? So that's an easy cover then for you.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, I think they're gonna win by at least 3. But I don't know how far the Chargers actually go. I think they take this game though. I don't know if I trust the Jaguars.
No, I hear you.
I think the Chargers cover.
I definitely hear it. The thing is that there's a part of me that thinks that the Jaguars are Doug Peterson is going to take advantage of what the Chargers do least well on defense, which is stop the run. And I think that Travis Etienne could have a very good game in this because the Chargers have struggled to stop the run. Etienne is a very explosive player. That's what the Chargers have struggled with as far as explosive runners this season. So it's just a lot of matchups and seeing where these things can go. And the Jaguars defense hasn't been great this season either. I mean, unless they were playing the Jets pretty much. But that's why I see this one going over much easier than the other one, even though it's a higher point total. My father-in-law, my brother-in-law, Jesse and Alan, basically last year we did a couple of bets together, pooled our money together and did a couple of bets. This year we're going to be doing the same thing. I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. We're probably taking the Jaguars alternate spread plus 5.5 or 6.5, and then going over a 41.5 point total because I think it's going to be a little bit higher, and it gets the plus money. So I do think that if I had to lean on this game, I would say that the Jaguars, I don't know, they might cover. It's 2.5, so it's like it's tough because I can see this being this can be Dicker the Kicker's winning field goal at the end of the game. I see that. I see that in the future. Yeah,
Maybe. All right, let's get to a better game.
You think because the next game is the Dolphins versus the Bills, so you just got very excited for no reason.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be
I did. No. I'm stoked to see the Bills play. Right, I'm down.
Absolutely.
I feel like they have unfinished business. Like, let's go. I think it'll be a great game, but yeah, that's fine. Is Tua playing? Do we know if Tua's
No, Tua was ruled out today. So
is Teddy or is Teddy still broken?
So I haven't heard anything about Teddy Bridgewater. To me, I believe I saw the tweet saying that they're preparing as if Skylar Thompson is going to be the quarterback, which is
going to be nasty
of this 13.5 point spread. And honestly, I don't think this is going to be a 2-touchdown game. I think it's going to be about a 9-10 point game in the end. So I would probably take the Dolphins to cover. Thing is that these two teams played two of the more exciting games of the season against each other. It was the 21-19 W by the Dolphins, in which they ran like 70 plays versus the Bills like 30 plays in the beginning of the year, and then also having the 32-29 Bills W as well. So these two teams have played tight games. The problem is that those were with Tua at the helm. So it's going to be a lot different. Mike McDaniel makes his first appearance in the playoffs. How he fares against a team still ascending to destined for greatness, and with all the good juju, if you will, on their side. I don't know how the Dolphins would be able to overcome all of that, especially on the road, especially in Buffalo. I don't know. I do, however, think Tyreek Hill has been, even though he's a little bit banged up. I do believe that Skylar Thompson will be able to get him the ball, and he will do Tyreek Hill things.
So I think that's the question. I want to see how well Tyreek Hill does with the no-name quarterback at the helm also, right? Is it Tyreek Hill that's the absolute monster, which I think he could be. Once you get the ball in his hands, he's actually a monster, and everybody knows that.
Right.
2 touchdowns. I don't know, right?
I say 2 touchdowns.
No. I'm looking right here, right? I'm seeing.
Yeah. You're saying the spread. Okay.
Yeah. I think they go over 44 points for the game.
Mm-hmm. You on that, by the way?
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
I think they go over for 43. I don't know. I feel like Bills play down to competition. So if the Dolphins are not playing so hot, I think the Bills are also going to play a little shittier. But at the same time, it's 2 touchdowns, they could totally do that. But like on the backside, Tyreek Hill could score a touchdown in 7 seconds. Fuck.
No, for sure.
I take Dolphins on this. I don't think Bills cover.
Okay. I mean, if you I don't know why obviously I know why the score 24-20 comes to mind with this, because it's a 43.5 point spread. So, that would then cover that. But the cool thing for me, just looking at the screen right now, is seeing Josh Allen as the second likeliest person to score a touchdown at plus 120. And honestly, that might even be a little bit of a steal because of how indicative and how important he is to the offense with his legs, and just being that dominant force. So I like that prop, if I would have to say, and I would have to take the Dolphins covering the spread as well. And I agree with you that they were also going to have the over on the game. Okay, so now we can get to everyone's favorite upset pick of the week, because everyone's on the Giants going into Minnesota, going into US Bank Arena or Stadium or whatever the heck they call it, with the big horn and everything, and beating and doing what they couldn't do a few weeks ago and beating the Minnesota Vikings. Plead your case, sir.
No shot. Dan Jones sucks. We're gonna lose.
Really? Really? So I don't have that take.
It's terrible. I see it now. I see it. We're driving down. We're down by like 3. We're down by 4. Driving down with 4.5 minutes left, and Daniel Jones, he's done enough fourth quarter comebacks this year. Throws it right to some defensive guy.
So that's
how we lose. That's your take?
That is what I see.
Yep, it's so bad.
So this game, this end of this
Giants are gonna win.
Very filled with a lot of, especially for the Giants, a lot of good vibes. Obviously, after the win against Washington, then the big game and win against the Colts. Now all this talk of an extension for Daniel Jones, an extension for Saquon Barkley. Do we forget how fickle and how opinionated New York fans are?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
This game is lost because of Daniel Jones. They will not bring back Daniel Jones. I am of that opinion 100%. If Daniel Jones is the reason they lose, he will not be the quarterback for the Giants next season. The fans will turn on him 100% because that's just how we operate in New York. That's just what we do. And all the good everything that Brian Daboll has built will still have been built, but it would be with another quarterback. And I think that is a realm of in the range of outcomes and in the realm of possibilities, but it's more likely than a lot of people want to give credence. And I was actually shocked that you said that they were going to lose because you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, like they're going to win, and I know they're going to win, but they're going to lose because Daniel Jones is going to give them the ball. That's what's going to be happening.
So it's really fun. I really appreciate that you said.
I honestly take the Giants +3 always. I'm not going to bet against my my G-men, but fuck, it's so bad. Anything short of a Super Bowl, they shouldn't re-sign Daniel Jones. I say we only signed.
I would disagree with that.
No, I think he's so
if
bad.
He's not the reason they lose, I think that he gets an extension, and I do think he deserves one. I'm not saying. By the way, I'm not saying.
Put me in, coach. Let's see how bad I am.
No, I understand, but I'm not saying. What I'm not saying though that he should lose his job as the coach, as the quarterback, because if he's the reason they lose. I'm just saying that's what would happen because the negative groundswell and all the momentum then goes the opposite side, and then that's what everyone's gonna leave with, have the taste left in their mouth going into the off season, and not remember all the oh, the one score W's, the fourth quarter comebacks and everything. It'll get soured in there, and you're not going to think about all of that when the reason why your season ended is because Daniel Jones threw a pick, Daniel Jones fumbled the ball, whatever it is. Let's get to the little bit other than Daniel Jones on this game. Justin Jefferson's going to eat. I think Dalvin Cook has not been Dalvin Cook at the end of the year, so I don't think he's going to have a good game.
Yeah, I don't think he cooks. Maybe JJ, maybe, probably. Right, it's JJ. But I think he's the only guy on Minnesota
that's how their offense works. If they go as Justin Jefferson goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the best player on the field is cooking, then Kirk Cousins is gonna have a good game, and they're gonna, the good thing for the Vikings is that this game's at 4:30, not in Kirk prime time, implosion time. So they're safe there, but I don't know. I just feel that Justin Jefferson's gonna have a big game. I like the Vikings. Overall, I don't necessarily like them to like. There's a lot of signs that point to the Vikings losing this game, and I understand. 11-0 in a one-score games. Last year they were 0 they lost, I believe, 8 one-score games. So pendulum swung one way last year, swung all the way the other way this year. I could see it evening out in a playoff game, but at the same time,
I'm ready for the Giants to win.
At what?
I'm ready for the Giants to win. Let's get it.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I think I definitely believe that the Giants can win this football game. They're coached well enough. Their ability to be in football games at the end of it and pull it out is definitely a respectable thing, and it's one of the reasons why Brian Daboll should be a coach of the year.
I love it. I do.
If I'm gonna I don't want to say gun to the head, but if I had to make a pick as to who I think is gonna win the game, spread be damned, I would have to say the Vikings are gonna win the game. I just heard a gasp from the wife in the other room. I just want to think that the Giants are going to win, but in the heart of hearts, I just can't pick them to win this game, which is why I won't let my brother-in-law, my father-in-law, and myself bet on this game, because there go Giants fans. If they lose, and when we lose money on it, it's the ultimate disaster, and we don't want it.
Yeah, I agree. So you're telling me that I have to take the money line on that game? Only because if the Giants do win, I'll be able to go to you, your brother-in-law, and your father-in-law. And say,
absolutely.
What could have
laugh
been?
at us.
Can we check the Daniel Jones interception?
Oh, I actually happens to be funny you say that. I looked for that line this morning. It's not up. They don't have it up yet in passing in the past.
What is it going to be? 1-5?
No. It's not going to be 1.5. It'll be a half, and they'll probably have it. I think they'll probably have it favored to have for him to have an interception. Yeah, I would say they would have it at minus money.
Yeah. The question is, whatever.
Because the Vikings defense that's what they do. They create turnovers. So
that's why I thought it was going to be 1-5. I'm curious what it's going to be.
Right. Okay. There you. All righty. So we will just pause for 1 second.